Hello dear friends, welcome back to another very interesting video tutorial from my channel Advanced Biology. Today our topic of discussion is about two men and a theory. Charles Darwin and Gregor Mendel were contemporaries, but did they know of each other's work? There is clear evidence that Mendel read The Origin of Species and mounting evidence that Darwin had heard of Mendel's work. The respective places of these two men in the scientific world at the time were worlds apart. Darwin's theory took the scientific world by storm. When his famous book was published in 1859, everyone was talking about it. Mendel's work, presented to the Brunn Society of Natural History in 1865, remained largely unknown, except in selective circles, until the 20th century. There may be several reasons why the significance of Mendel's work went unrecognized for so many years. Why was Mendel's work unappreciated during his time? As reported in the seminal biography by Hugo Iltis, The Life of Mendel. However, on that evening in February 1865, among the 40 members of Mendel's audience, many were experts in the field. After Mendel presented his findings in precise mathematical terms and offered an explanation, there were no questions and there were no discussion. Rather, the members of the society at that day launched into a discussion of Darwin's theory of evolution, and no wonder, so entirely did it fill the scientific minds of the time. A second reason suggested by Iltis is that linking botany with mathematics may have repelled his audience for a variety of reasons. Actually, applying mathematics to biology was also an idea well ahead of its time. The underlying and driving question for biologists in Mendel's time was, how is the extraordinary multiplicity of living forms to be explained? Additionally, there was intense interest in the more specific question of how traits are passed on and to determine what effect the environment might have on this process. Mendel knew about Darwin. Mendel was not opposed to the theory of evolution. Like many scientists of his day, he bought copies of Origin of Life and many other books related to the theory of Darwin, all of which remain in the monastery library in Brunn. Mendel wrote notes in the margins of the book, and though not opposed to Darwin's theory, his intuition told him it was somehow inadequate. Mendel stated that his experiments were actually designed to support or to illustrate the influence of the environment on plants, as suggested by Lamarck's theory, but his results did not in fact demonstrate this. Rather, in a letter to his friend Carl Nageli, Mendel stated that an organism's interaction with its environment was not sufficient to significantly change a species. It is now known that environment can play a significant role in the expression or repression of organisms' genetic makeup over time, but these changes occur through non-Mendelian mechanisms. Additionally, at that time, it was believed that offspring inherited characteristics by a blending of traits from the parents. Even Darwin offered pangenesis as his theory to explain how this might happen. Did Darwin ignore Mendel's work? Mendel had 40 copies printed of his paper, Experiments in Plant Hybridization, and may have sent it to Charles Darwin in the hope that his results would contribute to what Mendel perceived as a gap in Darwin's account. Additionally, it is known that Francis Galton, Darwin's first cousin, argued Darwin to test Mendel's law by growing peas himself. There is additional evidence that Mendel's work was unmentioned specifically in articles that Darwin consulted for some of his writings. In fact, in one article, Mendel's work and results were mentioned 18 times. So it is possible that Darwin read Mendel's paper. However, because Darwin had abandoned his theory of pangenes in favor of survival of the fittest to explain evolution, it makes some sense that he would have ignored the results from a monk whose major work consisted of one experiment, albeit years long, involving over 27,000 plants. What are the other differences between Mendel and Darwin? Essentially, Darwin wrote an enormous time meant to convince by sheer volume. Mendel only 40 pages. Darwin proposed natural selection occurring over millennia. Mendel demonstrated inheritance by artificial selection in only a few generations. Ultimately, Darwin's theory focused on the variability of species, and Mendel's results showed a mathematical constancy of the inheritable traits. In many respects, the scientific world was not yet ready for Mendel's ideas. In fact, Mendel's laws of inheritance and the story of chromosome, genes, and DNA didn't converge until 1944. If you have any doubt, you can comment in this video. If you enjoy it, please like it and share the video. For the new viewers, do not forget to subscribe my channel if you already have not done so, and press the bell icon to get the notification on the newly released video. Thank you.